Hello and welcome to Yes, You Are Brave. This is a podcast where we are going to set off on a journey together to find and build our brave, where we explore all the ways that you have been brave and all the ways that you can be brave again. Because even though we may have forgotten or we may have fallen out of practice, we're all brave. And I'm on a mission to prove it and help you believe that yes, you are brave. Hello, and welcome back to Yes, You Are Brave. I'm Pawnee, your host. Let's talk brave. And today we are talking about being brave enough to choose love over fear. This is one of those topics that I feel like is it's always very pertinent, but I feel like fear is just almost the currency of the day. It's kind of crazy. But I want to talk about what in your personal life, what do you love more than fear? And what's more important to you than the fear? Think about that for a moment. I've thought about this and different things in my life. What I love more than fear or comfort and one of the things that came to mind was was my husband, and I love him more than fear, more than comfort, more than I want to know exactly how my life is going to go, more than security, more than a lot of things. So what can we do to be brave enough to love something more than fear? And when we talk about love over fear, I want to know who's driving your bus, love or fear? And as we get into this, I'll talk about what could you do without fear? What could you do if there was no fear in your life? What could you do without that little naggy person on your shoulder that was only had to tell you about all the things that could ever go wrong and were always bad? What could you do without fear? Now, I'm not saying, I realize it's not possible. We can't just poof away fear, right? It's not just like, oh, I'm done being afraid, and poof, it's gone. Okay, that's not how it works. But the question I have for you is, where's your focus? Because what we focus on becomes bigger and bigger. It's like when you look at your hand out here at arm's length, and the closer you bring it to your face, the bigger it becomes. Soon all you can see is a finger if you bring it close enough. So what is it that we're focused on? And how can that change our lives? Because what if we focused on love instead of fear? How would that change your life if you focused on love and kindness and things like that instead of being afraid? How would your life change if you focused on hope more than fear? I don't mean the fleeting hope. I mean the true belief that things can get better. What would your life be different if you focused on grace instead of fear, or peace instead of fear, or forgiveness instead of fear? How would your life be different if we loved more than we feared? Now, I'm not necessarily saying to completely throw caution to the wind and be fearless and do things that are wild and crazy without regards to their consequences, but how could your life and your world that you live in be different if fear was not your focus? And I talk a lot on this channel. This podcast is all about being brave and all about all the little and the big ways and things like that. I couldn't help but think of the quote that is attributed to John Wayne. It says, "Courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyways." And I've thought a lot about that in recent months, probably partially because I work at a ranch, and there are horses all over, and there's daily conversations about how interactions went with horses and stuff like that. But being scared to death and saddling up anyways. I don't know if you have ever ridden horses or worked with them. They're amazing. They're wonderful, beautiful, majestic animals. They're also big, and they can also be really stubborn. Just like people have such crazy different personalities, so do horses. And some of them are ornery, and some of them are mean, and some of them are lazy, and some of them are just the most laid back, easygoing, and they'll do whatever you ask. But the thing about it is you never know what the horse is going to do or where the road is going to take you before you saddle up, before you get on that horse, before you start that journey. You never know. But you're never going to find out if you never get on the horse, right? You'll never know. So with that being said, as we're starting off on these new journeys, as we're finding new ways to be brave, as we are pushing forward, even as the world around us is completely changing and shifting, and it feels like it can be pretty scary, if I'm being honest, and it can feel pretty overwhelming. Is that the right word? It can feel pretty overwhelming. It can feel pretty scary, and there's a lot to be fearful of. But I want you to think about, what are you focusing on? What are we focusing on? What are we holding up so close to our face that we can't see anything else? And is that what we want to be focused on? Because is it fear? Is it love? Is it hope? Is it peace? Is it kindness? And then kind of a flip on that as well. What would you like to be focused on? Maybe the last couple of months have been just panicky for you. Maybe you have been focused on fear. Maybe you have been focused on all of the struggles around you. And there are plenty of them. But what would you like to be focused on? Because the good news is, while there is lots of crazy stuff going on in the world, is that you can change and you can shift your focus. You can shift into a completely different mindset if that's what you would like to do. You do not have to focus on the fear. You do not have to let it drive the bus. You can choose to focus on other things. And I know that that is easier said than done. It's much easier said than done. But it is possible. You just have to start making a habit of focusing on different things. Focus on the joy. Focus on the good. Focus on things you can actually change. That's also, I feel like, going to be a theme for my 2025, is focusing on things that I can change. Fighting battles I can win. And we talked about that in a previous episode about not fighting against the weather. But you can change. You can shift. You can choose love over fear. You can choose to not let fear be in charge. It's not going to go away. I would love to tell you that you make the decision and fear just goes away magically. It's not going to go away. But it doesn't have to drive. Also, when you realize that, okay, maybe I have been focusing on fear and I do need to shift, you got a choice. You can sit in the shame of the mistake, or you can focus on the solution, on a solution. And I would say that there are a lot of voices that are going to tell you you need to be ashamed of everything. That you make a mistake, oh, you're terrible, awful. No, you're not terrible, awful if you make a mistake. If you lose focus, if you do something, even if you go down a wrong road, you're just human. And we're all just doing the best that we can. Don't get stuck in the shame of the mistake. Start searching for a solution. Start finding ways to get out of it. And the other thing that I want to point out here is there is always more than one solution. Okay? We talk about, oh, it's the solution. No, there's not one solution to pretty much any problem. Maybe a few. But generally speaking, there's more than one solution to any problem. And you got to find, if you come up with a solution and you start into that and it doesn't work, okay, fine. Try something else. But that's the beauty of choosing love and hope over fear, is that you can believe in those things, that it doesn't have to be a one and done. It doesn't have to be get it done. It's only about this. You can just start working on solutions. You find one that works, cool. If not, that's fine. Keep trying. And also I want you to think about, I want to warn about the whole pitfall of expecting immediate results. And your immediate results, or the lack thereof, does not mean we're not succeeding. There are some things that are going to take time, no matter how much we want them right now. They're going to take time, and I know that that's not fun, and we hate it, but you know what? I ate 3 salads in a row, and I would love to have lost 10 pounds. Or I worked out for a week, and I would love to look fantastic in a bikini. That's just not the way most things work. We need to give ourselves some grace and some time and some patience to be able to get to where we want to go. And if we're shifting our mindset especially, that is a process and it is going to take time because old habits die hard. And if we've been a negative person in the past, it's going to be really easy to keep looking for those things that are going wrong, looking for the bad. But it can be done. You can shift your focus. You can choose love over fear. You can be different. And I guess that's really the main idea of the whole podcast is you can be whatever you want to be. You can be different. Please, please believe me when I tell you that you can be different. You can do things differently. Life doesn't have to be stuck. You don't have to be stuck. You just have to be brave enough to choose something different. Choose love, hope, peace over fear. And you can do it. And you are worth the effort to do it, my dear. You're worth the effort. So this week, see if we can't shift our focus to things that are a bit more positive. In your world, what can you change? What can you focus on that's going to make you be and feel better? Let me know. I'd love to hear how you are shifting your focus from fear to love. Because you can. You're amazing. You're wonderful. And you, yes, my dear, you are brave.
Thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed what you've heard today, please leave a review down below and share this with anyone that you feel like could use a little more brave in their life. And if you'd like to follow more of my journey to be brave, you can follow me on social media and link down below. Have a fantastic day and don't forget to be brave.